There are moments in life when pain feels like a shadow that never leaves your side. Maybe it's the sting of a broken relationship, the ache of disappointment, or the silent weight of feeling misunderstood. You wake up, put on your mask, and move through the world as if nothing is wrong, but inside, you're carrying a burden that no one else can see. It's a universal struggle, one that every person faces, yet so few are willing to talk about. We're taught to hide our wounds, to keep our struggles private, to pretend that everything is fine, even when it's not. Why do most people run from pain? Why do we reach for distractions, numb ourselves with busyness, or bury our feelings beneath layers of denial? The answer is simple. Pain is uncomfortable. It exposes our vulnerabilities, reminds us of our limitations, and threatens the image we want to project to the world. Most people will do anything to avoid it. They scroll endlessly through social media, chase after fleeting pleasures, or lose themselves in work, hoping that if they ignore the ache long enough, it will eventually disappear. But what if I told you that the very pain you're trying to escape is actually the key to your greatest strength? What if the struggle you're facing right now is not a curse, but a calling, a sign that you are being shaped for something greater? Most people never discover the hidden power within their struggles. They run from discomfort, avoid solitude, and let their emotions rule them. But there is another way, a path walked by the strongest, the wisest, the unbreakable. This is the path of the Stoic. It's not an easy road, but it's one that transforms pain into power, loneliness into wisdom, and adversity into unshakable resilience. Today, I'm going to share with you how Stoics turn pain into power. These are not just ideas, they are ancient principles, tested by centuries of hardship and proven by those who refuse to be broken. If you're ready to stop running from your pain and start using it as fuel for your own transformation, you're in the right place. Most will never take this journey, but you're about to discover what sets the strongest apart. What if everything you've been taught about pain is wrong? What if your suffering is not a curse, but a calling, a signal that you are being invited to rise above the ordinary and discover a strength most people never find? The Stoics believed that pain is not something to be feared or avoided, but a hidden forge where true character is shaped. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the very obstacles you face are not roadblocks, they are the path itself. Most people see pain as a sign of weakness, something to be ashamed of or concealed. They ask, "Why me?" and search for ways to escape discomfort. But the Stoic asks a different question. What is this pain here to teach me? Seneca, who endured exile and loss, wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." He understood that adversity is not the enemy, it is the training ground for greatness. Imagine if, instead of shrinking from your struggles, you leaned into them. Imagine seeing every hardship as a lesson, every setback as a stepping stone, every wound as a mark of your resilience. This is the Stoic mindset, to see pain not as a punishment, but as a powerful invitation to grow. It's a radical shift, one that separates the strong from the weak, the wise from the restless. Most people will never make this shift. They will spend their lives running from discomfort, missing the hidden gifts buried within their suffering. But you have a choice. You can choose to see your pain as a source of power, a wellspring of wisdom, empathy, and inner strength. This is not about denying your hurt or pretending to be invulnerable. It's about transforming your pain into purpose, your wounds into wisdom. In the next sections, I'll reveal the Stoic insights that only the strongest embrace. These truths are not for the faint of heart, but for those who are ready to turn their suffering into strength. Embrace them, and you will set yourself apart from the crowd. You will become unbreakable. Most people, when confronted with pain, instinctively turn away. They numb themselves with distractions, endless scrolling, mindless entertainment, fleeting pleasures, anything to avoid the discomfort that comes with facing their wounds. They let their pain define them, building their identity around what hurt them rather than what they could become. When adversity strikes, they ask, "Why is this happening to me?" and retreat into self-pity or resentment. Pain becomes a prison, and they become its captive, living in fear of the next blow. But the Stoic is different. The Stoic does not run from pain or try to bury it beneath layers of denial. Instead, The Stoic turns and faces it, unflinching. Where most people see pain as an enemy, the Stoic sees a teacher. Where most people let suffering close their hearts, the Stoic lets it open theirs. The Stoic asks, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to become stronger, wiser, more compassionate? Pain, for the Stoic, is not a life sentence, it is a lesson plan. Consider Epictetus, born into slavery, stripped of freedom, dignity, and comfort. Most would have been broken by such a fate, but Epictetus chose a different path. He accepted what he could not change and focused on mastering his own mind. Through years of hardship, he forged an unbreakable spirit, teaching that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. His pain became his power, his suffering, the source of his wisdom. Or think of Marcus Aurelius, leading an empire through plague and war. Surrounded by chaos, loss, and uncertainty, he did not collapse under the weight. Instead, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength," while most would have been consumed by fear. Marcus found clarity and purpose in adversity. Few have the courage to walk this path. Most will always choose comfort over growth, distraction over discipline, and resentment over resilience. But the Stoic path is not for most people. It is for the rare few who are willing to face their pain, learn from it, and transform it into something greater. If you're still here, you are already different. You are ready to discover the insights that set the strongest apart. Growth never happens in comfort. It's a truth that most people resist, but the Stoic embraces. Imagine a blacksmith forging a blade. The steel is thrust into the fire, hammered, bent, and shaped. Without the heat, without the relentless pounding, the metal would remain soft, unformed, and weak. It's only through the fire that it becomes something strong, something enduring. Your discomfort is that fire. It's the crucible where your character is forged. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort at all costs. They seek the path of least resistance, choosing what's easy, familiar, and safe. But the Stoic knows that growth never happens in comfort. Epictetus, who endured the harshest conditions as a slave, understood this deeply. He said, "Difficulties show men what they are. It's in the moments when you're tested, when you're tired, uncertain, or afraid, that your true self is revealed." Think about the last time you faced something uncomfortable. Maybe it was a difficult conversation, a new challenge at work, or a moment when you had to stand alone. Did you shrink away? Or did you step forward, even if your voice trembled? Every time you choose to lean into discomfort, you're building resilience. You're teaching yourself that you can survive the fire and come out stronger on the other side. Here's a practical step. Today, choose one small discomfort and lean into it. Maybe it's speaking up when you'd rather stay silent, taking a cold shower, or sitting with your thoughts instead of reaching for your phone. It doesn't have to be dramatic. What matters is that you face it, even if it's just for a moment. Each time you do, you're forging your own inner steel. Most will never do this. They'll stay in the comfort of the familiar, never knowing what they're truly capable of. But you are not most people. You are willing to step into the fire, to let discomfort shape you into something unbreakable. Remember, the strongest steel is forged in the hottest flames. Embrace discomfort, and you'll discover strength you never knew you had. One of the most liberating truths in Stoic philosophy is the dichotomy of control. Most people spend their lives wrestling with things far beyond their reach, other people's opinions, the past, the unpredictable future. They pour their energy into changing circumstances that refuse to bend, and in the process, they exhaust themselves, growing bitter and anxious. The Stoic, however, draws a clear line in the sand. What is up to me, and what is not? Imagine you've just lost your job. The shock hits, followed by a wave of fear and anger. Most people spiral, every detail blaming themselves or others, worrying about what might happen next. They try to control the uncontrollable, and the struggle only deepens their suffering. But the Stoic pauses. They acknowledge the loss, but then ask, what can I actually influence right now? They can't change the decision that was made, but they can control their response, their attitude, their next step, their willingness to learn and adapt, or picture the sting of betrayal. Most people become consumed by resentment, replaying the hurt, wishing they could rewrite the past. Stoic, instead, accepts what has happened, and turns inward. How will I let this shape me? What lesson can I carry forward? This is the dichotomy of control, choosing to invest your energy only where it matters. Seneca captured this wisdom perfectly. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. So much of our pain comes not from what actually happens, but from our endless attempts to control the uncontrollable. The Stoic frees themselves from this trap by focusing on their own thoughts, choices, and actions. Here's a practical exercise. Take a moment to list what you can and cannot control in your current struggle. Be honest. Maybe you can't change someone else's behavior, but you can choose your boundaries. Maybe you can't predict the future, but you can prepare for it. Write it down. Let go of what's beyond your reach and pour your energy into what's truly yours to shape. Most people will never do this. They'll stay trapped in a cycle of frustration and helplessness. But you can break free, control the controllable, and you'll find a calm that no storm can shake. Most people fear being alone. They fill every quiet moment with noise, distraction, or the company of others, terrified of what they might find in the silence. Loneliness to them feels like a punishment, a sign that something is missing or broken. But the Stoic sees solitude differently. For the Stoic, solitude is not a void to be filled, but a crucible for self-discovery. It is in the quiet, away from the world's demands and expectations, that you meet your truest self. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, knew this intimately. Exiled from Rome, stripped of his status, and separated from friends and family, he found himself utterly alone. Most would have been crushed by such isolation, but Seneca used it as an opportunity to turn inward. In his letters he wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality," and he discovered that solitude, rather than weakening him, revealed a wellspring of inner strength. In the absence of applause or approval, he learned to listen to his own conscience, to clarify his values, and to build a foundation that no external force could shake. Think about your own life. When was the last time you sat with yourself without reaching for your phone, the TV remote, or someone else's company? Most people avoid this at all costs, afraid of the discomfort that comes with facing their own thoughts. But the Stoic knows that only in solitude can you truly hear the quiet voice of your own wisdom. It is in these moments that you discover what you stand for, what you believe, and who you are when no one is watching. Here's your action step. Spend just 10 minutes today in intentional solitude. Find a quiet space, turn off all distractions, and simply sit with your thoughts. Reflect on your values, what truly matters to you beyond what others expect or demand. Notice what arises. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but stay with it. This is where your real strength is forged. Most will never do this. They'll run from solitude, never realizing that the answers they seek are waiting in the silence. But you are not most people. Embrace solitude, and you'll find a strength that no crowd can give and no loneliness can take away. Most people live at the mercy of their emotions. When anger flares, they lash out. When fear rises, they retreat. When sadness visits, they let it color every thought and action. It's as if they are leaves tossed by the wind, helpless against the storms inside them. But the Stoic sees emotions differently. The Stoic knows that emotions are not enemies to be fought or masters to be obeyed. They are messengers, bringing valuable information about our inner world. Imagine your emotions as the weather, ever-changing and sometimes wild. Some days are bright and clear, others stormy and dark. But you are not the weather, you are the sky itself, vast and unchanging, able to hold whatever comes. The Stoic stands firm, observing the emotional storms without being swept away. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The Stoic listens to what emotions have to say, but chooses how to respond. Think of a time when you felt overwhelmed, maybe by anxiety before a big decision, or by frustration in a difficult conversation. Most people react without thinking, letting the emotion drive their words and actions. The Stoic, instead, pauses. They name the emotion. This is fear, this is anger, this is grief. By naming it, they create space between the feeling and their response. Then they ask, what is this emotion trying to teach me? Maybe fear is pointing to something you care about. Maybe anger is revealing a boundary that's been crossed. The emotion is a signal, not a command. Here's a practical step. Next time you feel overwhelmed, pause, take a breath, name the emotion you're experiencing, and ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Write it down if you need to. This simple act transforms you from a passenger to the pilot of your own mind. Most people will never do this. They'll remain at the mercy of every emotional storm, never realizing they have the power to choose their response. You are not. Most people treat your emotions as messengers, not masters, and you'll discover a calm and clarity that no storm can shake. Most people see setbacks as the end of the road, a sign that they're not good enough, smart enough, or lucky enough. When failure strikes, they shrink back, letting disappointment harden into regret. But the Stoic sees things differently. To the Stoic, every setback is a seed planted in the soil of experience, waiting to grow into wisdom. Failure is not a verdict. It's a lesson plan written in the language of adversity. Think of Thomas Edison, who famously failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. When asked about his repeated failures, he replied, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each setback was not a defeat, but a step forward, a necessary part of the journey toward success. The Stoics understood this long before Edison. They believed that wisdom is not handed down in comfort, but earned in the crucible of trial and error. Consider the story of Seneca, who faced exile, political disgrace, and personal loss. Each time he was knocked down, he used the experience to sharpen his understanding of himself and the world. He wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." For Seneca, every hardship was a teacher, every failure a lesson in resilience, humility, and perspective. Most people never pause to ask, what is this setback here to teach me? They see only the loss, not the lesson. But the Stoic knows that wisdom grows in the cracks of disappointment, watered by reflection and honest self-examination. The pain of failure is real, but it is also fertile ground for growth. If you are willing to dig, here's your action step. Write down your last setback, no matter how big or small. Then, ask yourself, what lesson did this experience give me? Maybe it taught you patience, or revealed a weakness you can now strengthen. Maybe it showed you the value of persistence, or the importance of asking for help. Whatever the lesson, claim it. Let your setbacks become the seeds of your future wisdom. Most will never do this. They'll let failure define them, never realizing that every defeat contains the blueprint for a greater victory. But you are not most people. Embrace your setbacks, and you'll harvest a wisdom that can never be taken from you. Most people spend their lives chasing the approval of others. They measure their worth by likes, compliments, and the fleeting applause of the crowd. Every decision is filtered through the question, what will they think of me? This endless pursuit of validation is a trap, one that leaves you anxious, restless, and never truly satisfied. The Stoic, however, walks a different path. The Stoic seeks not the approval of others, but the quiet, unshakable respect that comes from living in alignment with their own values. Epictetus put it bluntly, if you want to improve, be content. To be thought foolish and stupid, the Stoic understands that growth often means standing alone, misunderstood, or even ridiculed by those who don't share your vision. Most people are terrified of this. They conform, they hide their true selves, and they trade authenticity for acceptance. But the Stoic knows that the only approval that truly matters is the one you give yourself. When you look in the mirror, think of the moments in your life when you compromised your values just to fit in, or when you silenced your voice to avoid judgment. Did it bring you peace, or did it leave you feeling hollow, disconnected from your own truth? The Stoic refuses to betray themselves for the sake of applause. They set their own standards and hold themselves accountable, even when no one is watching. Here's a practical tip. Today, do one thing for your own standards, not for applause. Maybe it's speaking an unpopular truth, pursuing a goal that others don't understand, or simply saying no when you mean it. Let your actions be guided by your principles, not by the shifting opinions of the crowd. Notice how it feels to stand in your own integrity, even if no one else notices or approves. Most people will never do this. They'll spend their lives chasing approval, never realizing that it's a moving target, one that can never bring lasting fulfillment. But you are not most people. Seek respect, not approval. Build a life that makes you proud, even if it means walking alone. In the end, the applause fades but self-respect endures. Even the strongest among us need support. Yet, when pain strikes, most people retreat into isolation, convinced that no one could possibly understand their struggle. They build walls around their hearts, thinking solitude will protect them from further hurt. But the Stoic knows that true strength is not found in isolation, but in connection. Community is not a weakness, it is a fortress, a source of wisdom, an encouragement that can weather any storm. In ancient Rome, the Stoics understood this deeply. They formed circles, small gatherings, where they would share their struggles, debate philosophy, and support one another through hardship. These were not just intellectual salons, they were lifelines. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius all leaned on the wisdom of their peers, drawing strength from the collective experience of those who walked the same path. They knew that even the wisest mind can falter alone, but together they could endure anything. Most people, when faced with adversity, withdraw. They convince themselves that asking for help is a sign of weakness, or that their pain is too unique to be understood. But the Stoic sees community as essential, a place to be challenged, uplifted, and reminded that they are not alone. In the company of others who value resilience and wisdom, burdens become lighter, and victories more meaningful. Think about your own life. Who are the people you can turn to when the weight feels too heavy? Who challenges you to grow and supports you? When you stumble, if you can't think of anyone, know that you are not alone. There is a community here, right now, of people who understand what you're going through. Here's your action step. Reach out to someone you trust. Share a piece of your story, or simply let them know you're thinking of them. If you don't, have someone in your immediate circle. Share your experience in the comments below. You might be surprised by how many people resonate with your journey. Most will never do this. They'll stay behind their walls, never experiencing the power of true connection. But you are not most people. Build your circle, lean on your community. And remember, together, we are stronger than we could ever be alone. Community is your fortress. Step inside. You've walked with me through the Stoic path. And now it's time to remember what this journey is really about. You are not alone. Whatever weight you carry, whatever pain you've endured, it does not make you weak. It is not a mark of failure or something to hide. Your pain is your training ground. It is the fire that forges your strength, the soil where your wisdom grows, the teacher that shapes your character. Most people will never see it this way, but you are not most people. You have learned that discomfort is not your enemy, but your doorway to growth. You've discovered the power of focusing only on what you can control and the strength that comes from embracing solitude. You now know that your emotions are messengers, not masters, and that every setback is a seed of wisdom waiting to grow. You've seen the value of seeking self-respect over approval, and the unbreakable support that comes from building your own community. These are not just ideas, they are tools, forged in the fires of adversity, ready for you to use every single day. So as you move forward, carry this affirmation with you. I turn my pain into power. Say it out loud, write it down. Let it become the foundation you stand on when life gets hard. Remember, the path of the strongest is not about never falling, it's about rising again and again, with more wisdom, more courage, and more compassion than before. Now, I want to hear from you. Which Stoic insight resonated with you the most? What pain have you turned into power? Share your story in the comments below. Your words might be the encouragement someone else needs to keep going. And if you're ready to keep growing, to keep learning, and to keep building this community of strength and wisdom, make sure to subscribe and join us on this journey. You are not alone. Together, we are forging a new path, one where pain is not a prison, but a passage to power. This is the path of the strongest. Walk it with pride, and never forget, your pain is your power.